Hi everyone, this is Lori here with Lori Hooks. Welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me today. So today I need to clean my WIP cart. Right now it's a junk cart. It's not a WIP cart. I don't think there is anything on, well, I know that there is nothing on here that I have been working on recently. They are all either very sleeping WIPs or stuff. So right now it's just a stuff cart. So I want to get back into a WIP cart, and I thought you might like to hang out with me and see what's going to end up on my cart when I'm done. So I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up because I think that's easier. The bottom, it actually is cleaner on the bottom. It has less extra stuff down here, so we'll start with there. Okay, so first of all, we have the bag of, this is felting wool that I use for gnome beards and that kind of stuff, and the needles are in here and everything for that stuff. I bought like a big package, well, these colored ones, and the needles were a package that I got on Amazon, and then I got this big pack of white separately at another time. So that is all my felting wool for gnomes. And the other thing, the majority of the things on this shelf are for all the colors for the, I think it's called the Amical blanket, and it is mosaic blanket with, was designed by, sorry, my yarn's tangled here, it's stuck to the label, weird. It was designed by Tina, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce her last name. I will link her channel below, but she's, if you're into mosaic, then you know Tina. But yeah, this is the yarn for the Amical blanket that I started, but I have not worked on it in a very long time. Let's get all of those out. And these are going to end up back on the cardigan because I actually do really want to work on this one. I just never get around to it. And the yarn that I was using for this is Premier Everyday Anti-Pilling DK. I have all the colors for the cow on here. I just don't have the ones that I have multiple skeins of, that like the white, you need a bunch of white for it, as well as this, I think they call it a pewter. No, they call it raven. It's like a dark gray color. I have more than one skein of that, and those are put away. So that is all the yarn for that. And I have the squares for it that I've done so far. This is the stack of squares that I've done so far, and this is just what one of the squares look like. And they all have different colors and different types of centers. I'll just go show you them really quickly. Very colorful, very pretty. And I need to work on it because really it's going to come out to be a really nice blanket. And I put it aside to work on something else at some time, and just intended to get back to it in the summertime, you know, because these squares are nice and small. You can work on them and it's not too hot. And I'll admit, I never got back around to it again. So the other things I have on this shelf is, this is some sock wool that I bought. And these I bought for making mittens, I think. I never got around to it. I'm going to put those ones away in my totes upstairs. So that's everything I had on that shelf. Let's put back in what we're going to keep here. And I see the pattern is not here. I need to find the pattern for the Amical and get it on this shelf, because that will make it a lot easier to work on it when I get around to it. Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to put this felting wool back on here. We'll see afterwards where I end up. Okay, let's go on to the next shelf. So the next shelf we have my everyday hooks that I use. I keep in this Tim Hortons cup. And these are all mostly clovers of different sizes. There's a few various other ones, but it's almost all clovers. I have this little container with some stars in it. Can't really see the stars, but there's some stars in there. And I guess I went yarn shopping and I didn't put it away. I just threw it on my cart. This is wool-like from Loops and Threads. A couple of these on here. Those need to go away in the totes upstairs. This is attached to something up there. What else do I have? I have some eyes and noses. Again, I bought these on Amazon. Empty pill bottle. Some stitch markers. And some more eyes. And this is a bag of yeah, it's the hook closures that you use for like backpack buddies. These are my other hooks that my extras. These are hooks that I don't use all the time, some extra plastic needles, that kind of thing. This is a box of buttons. This was from I got my grandmother's sewing machine. This was in one of her drawers of her sewing machine. It's all full of buttons. In this little container, I find it funny, this is a cigarette box, but my grandmother was never a smoker, so I'm not really sure why she had a cigarette box full of buttons, but it's a really cool aluminum box in either case. Okay. This is some sport white wool yarn I balled up. And I know what these ones are for. There's 3 colors here. These are Loops and Threads Impeccable. I don't know where the ball band is for this one. It's probably there somewhere. But I bought these 3 colors to use together for Jada's cowl that she did last year, the Tunisian one. And I did the first few squares and then decided that it was not for me. I wasn't liking the way that it was coming out, so I quit after, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. So this is the yarn that I got out for this, and I never finished using it. If you can hear Sophie, she's over here sniffing everything. These are the Tunisian squares that I did make. I'll probably frog these out at some point. You can see Sophie's nose there a bit. We'll put those away with that yarn. This is some Peyton's Classic Wool Worsted, and this is actually for a cowl for my husband that I had been working on. It's a knit cowl. I haven't worked on it in quite a while, but that's what this is for, and I need to put it away with his cowl. Just some white. Again, it needs to be put away. Not sure why it's on here. Needles, an empty bag, fluff. This is some, what's it called, Lion brand Tribu for a cardigan that I was working on last year that it wasn't working out. It needs to be frogged. Some beads. These could be put away. These don't need to be on my cart. More beads. More beads. These are Stylecraft Special DK color. You know, you get the cardboard booklet with all the different colors in it, and I cut it all apart so that I could match the different colors together for buying yarn for a project that I was going to work on. So I cut it all up and was using the colors, like putting them beside each other to see how they were going to work out with each other. And then when I was done, I put them all in this plastic baggie. These are knit picks, and you can use them to attach to your project. This has all the sizes on them, so you know which size knitting needle or crochet hook that you're using. Well, these are some of those stitch markers, the metal ones, what do they call them? The keyhole ones or something like that. Well, this is the size for the eyes when I bought them. Some T-pins for blocking a new package. This is for checking the size of your crochet hook or your knitting needles. This is a pocket for my Eva cardigan that I never used. I decided that I didn't want it to have pockets. I could fraud this out and put it with the extra yarn from the Eva cardigan in my scrap bin. And some black embroidery floss for embroidering faces and whatever on amigurumi. That's everything that's on that shelf. So I know I'm going to put back my crochet hooks on this shelf. That's where I like them to be. They're where they're the least likely to get knocked over. And I need to see what else I'm going to put back on this shelf when I'm done. Oh, and this little pot thing in the front here. Oh, these are business cards from the store where I bought my knitting needles from. It's called Lovely Knitting. But these are all DPNs and sock needles for knitting. This little bin has glue, fabric glue, and the point covers for knitting needles. That kind of thing. And this one has some scissors and a marker. Sometimes there's a tape measure in there. This little container is magnetic, and it has some row counters like this kind. And those knit picks. I'm getting hit in the head. The yarn is attacking me. Some of these knit pick ID tags that says the sizes on them. That's what one of them looks like. You have a little hole in the top to attach to your project. Okay. I'm just gonna get my stool here so that I can clean out this top shelf and then repack everything. Okay. So this is my circular knitting needles. These are Knitter's Pride, I think, and then all my circular knitting needles along with their cords are in this pack. Tunisian crochet hooks. I have a review of this set. I got it on Amazon. I have a review for this set that I did when I got it. An empty bag. This is Happiness is Handmade. And my what do you call this? My neck light. Again, I got this on Amazon. This is a project bag that I got from, I won from Rebecca at Yarn and Pajamas. And it's a cute little bag. I like this one for small projects. It's been buried on here. I haven't used it in a while. I'm glad that I found it. It's a good one for small projects. Ooh, my teepee hat that I made, my first knit hat that I made. And it's a little teepee-ish. I didn't follow the pattern very well. And I made one sock and I still need to finish the other one. So this is a WIP that I need to work on. So this one's going back on the cart for sure. Not really sure why we have a dog Christmas costume on here, but we do. My daughter is over there on the couch laughing. More papers. A bag from the Lovely Linen Yarn Shop. What have I got in here? Some Peyton's Astra yarn. Another knit project that I haven't worked on in a long time. This one I'm probably going to frog. Well, and this is what I bought that day when I was at the store. Makes sense that these are in the bag. I'm not really sure why this knitting project was in the bag though. This is just sock yarn that I bought. Again, needs to go away in the totes upstairs. So we'll put that out to put away. And there's a doily type thing that I made for my table a while ago. That needs to be put away. It's the leftovers from a pair of socks that I made. That can be put away in the scrap pile, and this is the yarn for that single sock I had. Here it is. These can go together so I can make the other sock. Some black felt. This little bag is full of wooden DPNs that I bought on Amazon. It's like a big set and they were super cheap. Has like all the sizes in here. They're bamboo and they're pretty weak, so for small size, the small sizes are in here, but I'm sure that I would break them if I was to use them to make socks. So I bought metal DPNs for making socks. The wooden ones I bought for making hats and that kind of thing. It's just an empty bag. This has my lighted crochet hooks in it that my daughter got for me. A pair of snips in there too. This little basket has a project in it that I was working on and never finished, along with the yarn for it. My 2022 agenda book that I hardly used. Some sticky notes. Oh, some buckles for making bags or whatever. Just some miscellaneous stuff shoved in here. Pattern that I got when I was at Michael's one day. Yeah. Some flat ring markers for knitting. These are some squares. Well, not squares, they're hexagons in different numbered sizes. What are these called? African flowers. I was working on the African flower bulldog a while ago. I finished 2 of his legs. There's one, and there's another one. And I haven't worked on this in ages. I need to decide if I'm going to finish him or if I'm going to frog him. That's what I had so far. There's the yarn that I was using. This is the Sheepy Soft Fun Rainbow Pack and some Sheepy Soft Fun, like a light beige color that I bought. And I actually bought this yarn for something else and didn't like how that project was working up in this yarn and decided to use it for the African Flower Bulldog instead. And the pattern for him is here as well. And yeah, that is my WIP cart. So I'm gonna definitely put my needles and stuff, all my little bags, back on this top shelf, but I need to figure out what else is gonna get back into this cart. And I'll show you that when I'm done. And here is the end result of after tidying the WIP cart. It is now a WIP cart again. So in the bottom we have the yarn for the Amacow blanket. This dark purple here is the extra cakes that I caked up for the knit cardigan I'm working on. There's my crochet hooks, and this is a mandala type wall hanging that I'm making for my daughter. I showed this a few weeks ago. I haven't had a lot of progress on it, so I haven't showed it recently. We have my crochet hooks, knitting needles, etc. My DPNs. And then on the top shelf, buttons, safety eyes. There's a half-finished gnome on here. It just needs to be sewn together. I made that a long time ago for Christmas. This is the knit cardigan that I'm working on. And this is a new gnome that I started since my last video. And that is my WIP cart. And it's now a WIP cart again. In the bags I have, this is a blanket that I started a long time ago. This one is empty. This one has the Bulldog, what's it called? Now I've forgotten the name of it. It's got the Bulldog that I'm working on in here and the felting wool that I use for beards. And that's my WIP cart. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today, and thanks for liking, thanks for sharing, and I'll see you next time on Lori Hooks. Bye everyone.